Welcome to the opening general session of the 85th Annual Convention of the Arkansas Municipal League. 85 years, wow, that's something. We have an outstanding convention program planned. We truly hope that this will be the best convention that you have ever attended. It's the Arkansas Municipal League, and it's an organization of all the cities in the state of Arkansas that work together and try to figure out, we all have similar issues, and we try to figure out the best way to make things happen that's best for everybody. We've got about 1,300 people here. They're here to learn. They're here to be certified municipal officials and get together and talk about how other cities handle their problems and their advantages.
I think this is the best possible way for a newly elected official to understand what their job is, understand the best practices for doing it, to be able to network with similar communities, to be able to learn all sorts of things from financial matters to human resources matters to legislative update. The list goes on and on. That is a critical part of what the league does, and I hope we continue to bolster that year in and year out so that it is the place to go for a new official and an old official alike to come get the training that they need.
We advocate for them at the state level, at the federal level. We provide them with programs and services so they can best run their cities and towns throughout the state of Arkansas, and we have a tremendous membership. This is the 85th anniversary of the Arkansas Municipal League, which means we are celebrating 85 years of service to the 500 cities and towns in the state of Arkansas. It's an incredibly exciting time. We look forward to seeing our membership. We look forward to the topics of discussion throughout the convention, and we want this to be a great success for everyone.
The case out of the United States Supreme Court overruled a case from long ago requiring essentially a business location in the state to be taxed. That's not very practical in today's world given the Amazons and Wayfairs that are out there. So the legislature recognized that it's not a new tax, it's just a fair way to do business. If you buy a pair of shoes from a vendor in Little Rock or you buy a pair of shoes from a vendor who's out of New York, you should still pay the same Arkansas sales tax. And that legislation is passed. I look for it to go and be implemented later this summer, and then hopefully we'll begin to see some very real results over the next 18 months to 2 years, I would say.
How critical is that sales tax revenue to municipalities?
It's the lifeblood, and I think that's really the critical aspect of this. It was a dwindling pool given that everyone uses their smartphones and computers to live their lives. We were missing that in this state, as were a great many other states, and this now gets us back to a level playing field, and cities and towns can survive and hopefully thrive now that that income that's been gone for so long is actually back in place.
The internet sales tax is something that the Arkansas Municipal League, as well as all the cities in the state of Arkansas, we've been advocating for that for a number of years. And this will be huge for our community. It not only takes care of fire and police protection, it just as a whole takes care of infrastructure.
Up until the internet and things like that, people had to pay a sales tax everywhere they went. And so now they're just going to be back where they originally were, and they're going to be supporting their cities to make sure that the funding that they get, the city will be able to take care of the things that need to be done inside the city.
Anytime we receive additional revenue into our stream, it's very helpful. But what it will allow us to do is to invest more heavily into our infrastructure. In the past, let's say 10 years or so, especially during that time of recession, there was always that time that there wasn't money placed into infrastructure. And now what we're seeing, especially in the Delta, is a bunch of failing infrastructure. And any time that we can, contribute money back into that, the potential gain on that would be that it reduce costs to our own residents and then still maintain a vibrant city.
What do we use sales tax for might be easier answered. What do we not use sales tax for? Just almost everything that we have in our community, sales tax impacts it greatly.
What would an increase in sales tax revenue from internet sales tax mean for your community?
Better streets, better drainage, better quality of life, parks, trail systems.
Sales tax to our community is crucial. We're a small community, And the loss of sales tax due to closures of mom and pop stores have left our city finances because they've closed and left. With online sales tax, obviously up until this point, we have not been collecting it. So that void that we have faced over the last several years as stores have closed and we've lost retail business should increase and help our community for infrastructure, fire and police protection, and things such as that.
We have been looking for dollars to invest in our fire and police, and we think that will help us give them the salaries that they deserve. It can also help us build the infrastructure. We're in the process of rising our city to a new level, raising that city up, and it can help us with that downtown infrastructure that we're working on. We're redeveloping downtown, and we also need more broadband access, and it can help with that. We have so many needs in the city, as you probably already know. We're excited about this.
I think that will be a tremendous benefit to our cities, not only just in my city, but the cities across the state, because they were talking about that injecting $20 million across the state, just at their preliminary guesses at how much that money would be. I think that'd be a tremendous lift for every city.
That's additional revenue, and it means a lot of different things to where we can fund different projects to help our citizens of what sales tax that we were missing out on before. So that's a big benefit to our entire community.
Having internet sales tax will actually make it more of an even playing field for small communities such as Altus. Whenever you have larger cities and a lot of people go from small cities to large cities to shop, we don't get the tax revenue. But when our citizens can shop online and make purchases, and then our city get the sales tax for that, that helps us out. And so that's even for everyone, no matter where you live, large or small cities, you get the sales tax. So I think online and internet sales tax is very, very fair and will help all cities.
Stevens is a small town, and we just have just 2 or 3 stores there, but people still buy from the internet, and where they wouldn't be buying in Stevens, by them buying on the internet and we receiving those taxes, that would be more income for the city.
We still have statutory home rule in this state for cities and towns, and that's a fantastic thing. Unfortunately, what is occurring, and this is a nationwide trend, hot topic items, things that are particularly politically prevalent at the time, or somebody's become irritated over something in their local community, they then will wind up seeing a bill that directly impacts local control in a negative way. And the unfortunate part of that really is that a one-size-fits-all doesn't fit. And so a statewide rule on sick leave or any of those kinds of things just doesn't work if your budget is under a sale from a lot of other things. So you may have road problems, water problems. Sick leave would not be the best way for you to spend your money, and those kinds of mandates mean that local government doesn't get to make the choices anymore, and we think that's just a bad policy.
It has proven over the years that local control works, and we know what our people want and what is best for our area of the state, and so we encourage all of our legislators at the state to leave the local control. We can take care of everything, and so what we encourage our legislators to listen to us when we go to change rules that affect who's governing our particular city.
We live in that community. That's number one. So we know all the information about our cities, and I think that it's good that you give it to the people for a vote within your community. And it's very difficult for someone outside of Jonesboro to start telling us what to do or whatever, when we realize what our needs are and how we're going to work on those and how we're going to accomplish those. So now that doesn't mean that we don't need help, don't get me wrong, but I think you always want to keep that, maintain that identity, local decisions within the local communities.
The way we look at it is that we're beholden to the citizens that elect us. We see them at the Friday night football games. We see them at the Rotary dinners. We see them at all these things. And so we are beholden to them, and they tell us, hey, we don't like this particular thing you're doing. And so we go to the city council meeting the next week and we change it. And so we're not a big fan as a municipal league of having legislators who meet 3 months every other year, trying to take back some of the local control, because it deserves to be wholly in the hands of the cities and towns.
Every town has got their own problems, and by having the home rule, we are able to take care of those problems without waiting on the state to make a move. We can handle it right there at home and handle it quickly and get it done. Where if you got to wait on the state government, well, you've got to wait until the General Assembly meets in most cases. So therefore, and by that time, everything's in chaos.
As far as local decisions on the local level, I think most things have to happen on the local level, even with that particular decision. Our local residents need to be aware of any situation, so I think on the local level, that's where most things are most important, so that they get an understanding from national, state, on down. So I think from the local level is the most important.
The home rule level is very valuable for us to make these decisions within our own community, because it gives us more autonomy.
Today's topic is our first and might be one of the most important of all this conference, is medical marijuana and the workplace. As you all know, the topic is incredibly relevant at this time in our state. The speakers at the head table will provide necessary information to effectively manage medical marijuana in the municipal workplace. It's coming, it's here, we've got to deal with it.
This, by virtue of the initiated voter process, is now an amendment to the Arkansas Constitution. So if you or your council are going to go look for, well, where's the medical marijuana law, it's not in the code. It's Amendment 98 to the Arkansas Constitution. So that makes it distinct and somewhat, more authoritative than a mere code provision. On the hierarchy of laws, obviously our Constitution is a notch above the code. So what did it do? I've heard a lot of misinformation bandied about what's the law require? How easy is it to get a marijuana card? Does it allow you? Can you be high at work? Now are you protected if you're high at work? All that sort of things. Most of the things I've heard are don't have a lot of truth to them. So we'll try to pull the curtain back today, talk about some of the myths I've heard, and demystify the law a little bit, and help everybody understand exactly what the law does. Just to have a plan in place to know, like when you have an employee that is a patient with the marijuana card, and you become aware of that, how to deal with it, what to do, what not to do, and how to maintain, like I said, to maintain a safe work environment while at the same time respecting the constitutional rights now of the employee.
In 2017, Dr. Rick Rigsby delivered one of the most passionate speeches ever heard. More than 200 million people worldwide viewed the speech in a video that went viral in just a matter of days.
There is an article, look it up if you don't believe me, an article called Death Spiral. What does Sears, your mall, and your church have in common? Is anybody interested? They're becoming extinct because they're not keeping up with the times. 6 out of 10 millennials are leaving the church and not coming back. Sears is losing customers at such a record pace, they have filed for bankruptcy and they're closing stores. Sears, once the citadel of American consumption, is now extinct. The church, once the centerpiece of American society, is going by the wayside. Why? Because we're not growing, we're leaning backwards. And when you lean backwards, entropy sets in. And when entropy sets in, you become irrelevant. You don't believe me? Ask Nokia. Nokia used to lead 20 years ago in terms of the cell phone. Now, a different story. You don't believe me? Ask Blockbuster. And I'm sure you know the story. They had the chance, but they said no. The guy starts his own company called Netflix. Perhaps you've heard of it. What's the point? Look up. Elected officials, representatives of different municipalities, businesses, and churches. If you don't adapt to change, you're going to be left behind. So we might want to stop complaining about that which we don't know and start learning some new stuff. I like y'all. 21st century leader requires an adapt to change, requires expertise in human capital, not just financial capital. That 21st century leader must master emotional intelligence, not just economic intelligence. You must collaborate with others, not just control others. You must work through networks, cross-functional relationships, not just work through hierarchies. Here's the bottom line. Everybody say, I'm listening. That 21st century leader must align people through meaning and purpose, not just structures and spreadsheets. They must rely on emotional and relational aptitude, not just technical and financial expertise. And here's the big one. They must build leadership in others, rather just getting people to follow them. The Arkansas Municipal League is vital. It is critical. The Municipal League, that represents the people's representative, the representative before state and federal government, which means that the taxpayers benefit when their leaders are their absolute very best. Here was my message. Are you doing everything you can to grow your influence? Leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. You're representing the people in towns and communities all throughout Arkansas. The best way that you can represent them is to be the absolute best leader that you can be. How can you be the best leader? Grow your influence in such a way that makes an impact in front of those state and federal authorities so that you can come back to your towns and communities and cities and serve to the highest level of excellence.
Now it's my honor and privilege to present to you the new league officers for 2019-2020. Vice President District 1 is Mayor Paul Wellenberger. Now, Paul wasn't able to be here. He had to leave a little early today because he is attending a ribbon cutting for their brand new hotel in Fairfield Bay. So that's a pretty good excuse, no doubt. Vice President District 2, Mayor Alan Loring. It's not mayor, is it? It's city council member. That's it. Wrightsville, right here. The next on my right is Mayor John Mark Turner from Siloam Springs, Vice President District 3. And now Vice President District 4 is Mayor Parnell Van from Magnolia. And your first Vice President, Mayor Gary Baxter from Mulberry. Gary. I guess it's time now for me to begin my speech. I really want to cover several things that are kind of interesting to me and to look back over the past 12 months. You know, one thing that I found out that is very important, that as mayors and city council members, we're here just for a little bit of time. And it's our responsibility to train those that are going to take our place. You know, you can just do so much in your 8 years as me, or 12 years, or 30 years, but you're going to have to hand it off to somebody else. So I encourage you to pay attention to that. You know, remember last year at this time, I talked about trying to get the younger generation involved, and that's why. We're going to have to pass this torch. We can't be mayor forever. And so concentrate on that. You know, I've challenged, where's Jonas? Is Jonas here? And Tyler Denton. Where's Tyler from Osceola? I challenged both of them. They're both young. Yeah, there he is right there. I said, you know, I know Harold's going to continue that passion of trying to get younger people involved, but I challenged those guys to continue to push forward. Local control. I spent a tremendous amount of time on your behalf over at the state capitol, and I realized at that point in time that there are legislators out there that want to take our local control away from us bit by bit. And, you know, local control is a proven governed success. You know, we know what our people need. You know, the people in Mulberry don't need the same thing as probably the people in North Little Rock or Lake Village and Fayetteville. And so we need to be able to self-govern. The reason I'm saying that is we have some wonderful legislators, but we have some that don't have any experience in municipal government and don't understand the challenges that we have at a local level. So what I want to encourage you as I go out of office is pay attention to your legislators, and I encourage you to try to run for those positions. If we can get more people with municipal government experience at the state capitol, we won't have to fight that local control. So I challenge you to do that, and I promise you that if I know that there's a mayor or a city council member out there that's running for office, I will come to your city and I will help you, because we've got to have more municipal people at the state level. You know, it's come time for me to pass the torch on to Mayor Perrin, and I know that he spent the last year as our first vice president diligently preparing for the task of president. So I have no second guesses on that he will do us a wonderful job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to thank my Lord and Savior for allowing me to serve you all as president in this coming year. Number two, I wish that my lovely bride of 50 years, my soulmate, my partner, my wife of my 2 children, Susan, could be here today, but she's had some medical issues, and I certainly hope that you will continue to keep her in your prayers and your thoughts. So again, I know that you would really enjoy being here and getting to see everyone. The second thing is I want to say is, and it's been said before, but I'll tell you, the Arkansas Municipal League, and I'm an old ex-banker and retired, but and was in the association, but this association is absolutely incredible for what all they provide to us. When I became mayor and serving 15 years on the council, but then when you sit in that mayor's chair, it's a whole different deal. And then you say, what do I do? And everybody goes home, you're still sitting there. Okay, so and what you do is you pick up the phone and you start calling the Municipal League, because they have the answers to those things. And I know that Mark has said this many times, and that is that we are you, you are us. In other words, we're all together in this deal. And I just want to say thank you, and for the great staff that we have here, and I look forward to working with them, with Sheila and with Whitney and with Cindy and Mark and all of those. And as long as they will provide me with desserts, I will be here. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much. You know, I think some of the presidents each year try to probably pick a theme or something that they would like to maybe just talk about just briefly that maybe could help all of us in the state of Arkansas and our cities, irregardless of the size of your city. And I've said this before, is that you cannot run a city on sales tax alone. No way. Even if you have grants and you have a grants division, grants are tightening up. The percentage and match on those grants are, again, larger for us to come up with the money to do that. And so one of the things that we have done in Jonesboro is we call it the public-private partnerships. And public-private partnerships is nothing more than you going out into your community and to take your staff with you and explain to what I call the stakeholders within your city that what is going on in your city and what is the cost of running your city. And I don't think, and it was hard for me to believe, that the people didn't realize how much it cost for our city to run. And when I talked to hospital administrators, business people, small business owners, they had no idea or no conception of what it costs to run a city.
I'm a newly elected mayor here at Forest City of Arkansas, and just meeting a lot of different people and the relationships, and also just being involved in the street aid and state aid program in there, and how we can help with apply for funding to help for some of our roads back in Forest City, Arkansas.
The training, the guidance, the help, the legal counsel,
everything that they do is just a tremendous asset for the cities. Just the insurance programs and things that they have saves us a tremendous amount of money just during the year. But the training, the working together, helping you to collaborate with each other, it's invaluable. It's really been good.
Valuable. I've been coming for several years now, and you learn a little bit something different every year, so it's been very valuable.
I was elected to the city council at about 25 years old, and I'm now the mayor, and I'm 35 years old. And to me, it's critical for people from my generation to be involved in local service and local public service because we are the future. And if we're raising our kids and our families in these cities and towns, and it's great that we can have such an impact on it. Local government is really where the rubber meets the road. That's where things happen. So the Municipal League has been really great. Mayor Smith has been really great about encouraging my generation to get involved, and we've got a lot of younger people involved, and so hopefully that'll continue.
The exposure that I have been the privileged enough to experience over the last year is invaluable. It's allowed me to get to know a lot of mayors that I probably otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to get to know, and it's given me an opportunity to be a voice for the league and for both small and large cities at the Capitol.
I'm a newly elected official. My name's April Broderick. This is my first year to be at the AML convention. And I wanted to work with the community that I grew up in and that I love so much. So that was kind of what spurred me on to get involved.
I think we cover a range of topics from legal, social, financial, leadership topics from experts in the field that help us learn things and take them home to our communities and then put them into practice in our local communities.
It's more of a hands-on. If everybody can get together, you bring back more knowledge to your city, and it saves the taxpayers money.
It's incredibly important. We've had 12 representatives from Osceola here. We think it's that important that we brought 12 of our city council members and our department heads here.
Well, being on the advisory council, of course, gives us an insight on what's happening statewide and what the Municipal League's doing. We can take that back to our cities, but also it gives our cities a voice, more of a voice, on the state level through the Municipal League by being a part of the advisory council. I'm serving my 9th year on the advisory council for First Class Cities, and I've enjoyed it and considered it an honor to be a part of it.
I think this should be a part of a natural orientation that we have to manipulate our ability to navigate the municipal government system. I think it's helpful to have exposure to the different resources that the league provides for us, and I determined right away that it was a good place for me to call anytime I had a question or was trying to locate information that would help me make decisions on city ordinances.
We have problems with infrastructure, and so I need grants and funding and that kind of thing I'm really interested in. We're also minus a city clerk at the moment, so I need to go to those meetings and find out exactly how to do what they do until we fill that position.
My favorite thing about being able to help local citizens and local government is that it really, really makes me happy to help people achieve their goals. In other words, a community can decide what they really want to have happen in their community, whether it be a swimming pool or a community center or a new road. And a city manager is able to put together the framework in which they're able to achieve that goal and accomplish what they want to do as a community. And that makes me really feel good, like I've really done something at the end of the day that is important for the world.
It's fantastic. I mean, there are smiles, there are people talking about all kinds of issues, and I think there's a very genuine camaraderie with city officials around the state, and I think that makes a big difference in what citizens see out of their local government.
The last 3 days of the 85th convention have been wonderful. It has been a tremendous success, and I do believe that our membership feels very armed, well armed with the information we provided them so they can go back home and serve their citizens.
Call the league. Get on our website. Look at get on our social media presence. There's if you're interested, all you got to do is pick your smartphone up, Google Arkansas Municipal League, and there's more information than you'll ever want to read.